Awesome.
We are here.
We are here.
We are live. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh,
get in there.
here
There you are.
are.
Happy Thursday. The week has gone
Thursday.
fast.
Yes,
Man.
it has. Ooh.
I mean, that's like, it has gone fast. We're
This
already
week was
talking
really
about,
fast.
just excited to
Hi,
get out
Uncle
and be
Pat.
active with the kids. Hey, Uncle Pat. Yes. And it's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
I'm Jason.
I'm Peely.
It's second cup of coffee time. We are here. We are live and we are ready to get started. Yeah, definitely ready to get started. So we're live. Second cup of coffee.
Mhm.
We're talking about living in the present, getting away from focusing just on the past and focusing on the future, right? We're taking out depression and anxiety. All it's just a simple thing of living right now.
Treating the present as such, as the gift that it is.
So I actually really did this breathing exercise today where you take a deep breath and each time you breathe out, you just literally just focus on the breath, just focus on the out breath, nothing about the end, but just focus on the beginning all the way to the end and see it through. And it's almost like you're blowing out a birthday candle, makes it easier for you. But if you do that 6 times, just think about how your focus and your clarity comes around, that you're able to just take a moment and now be settled and be ready to move forward. So simple things like that can just completely change your perspective. And if you find yourself in a moment where something's difficult or just something's not going right, just those 3, 4, 5 seconds of just deep breathing can really just alter your state and just put you into a state where you can move forward. And I know it's not going to solve, money problems that are potentially being had or things that potentially had, but it may give you a clean perspective to make a good choice about your next actionable step. Because so many times the thing that's missing, and I want to make sure I can show Peely in her beautiful yellow shirt here, but the thing that's missing most of the time is that we take all the activity that's not going right and we jumble it in and it's just all going chaotic around us to the point here where we don't have a clean time to think, right? And that's usually the point right here where we need a clean time to think to be able to make our best strides forward. And a lot of that is just getting out of what's happening behind us and where we think we have to go. And if we can do that, just focus on right now, because you can only control. Do right now.
Yes. You can't do the past again. You can't redo the past, no matter how much you wish and hope and pray you could. And you can't go into the future and tell what's going to happen in the future. So every morning for the next couple of mornings, I'm going to be listening to LeBron James. Now that's a departure from my normal things in my ear. Normally I either have like a Hawaiian lesson, or I'm listening to Gary Vee or Tony Robbins or Brene Brown. But Calm, the app Calm, it's a meditation app, asked LeBron James to basically give us his playbook. So today I was listening to him talking about just this thing, talking about the focus and talking about the here and now and focusing on the here and now, how that will shape your future. But without focusing on the here and now, you cannot have a future. So he talked about some sort of jump shot that he was taking in some game. And he was like, okay, let's pause it in this moment. I was not thinking about and he was in Chicago, and this was 2015. So some of you might actually know what game I'm talking about. They ended up winning that game. And it was like,
I'm really impressed by the details. Usually the details are not Peely's point. It would just be like, I have to warrant just the feeling of the conversation, let alone anything that's happened in the conversation.
Jason,
so I love this.
Jason loves me even more right now because I'm remembering details about a sports event. So it was seconds before the game. I think he had 2 seconds to get this shot in, and LeBron basically breaks it down as such. He was like, I wasn't thinking about the fans in the stands, the millions of people watching on live TV. I wasn't thinking about the other stuff that was happening. The only thing that I was thinking about were my teammates, the defender, this amazing, he said who that defender was. I don't remember that. But he was like this amazing, like giant of a beast that was coming at me, the ball and the rim. So these are all things that he had control over, but he definitely had control over that ball and how his feet were planted on the ground. And his mindset at the time was so focused that he threw the ball and it went in and they won the game. So I know our wins aren't going to be as big and as celebrated as LeBron James. But if you have the mindset and you celebrate them like that, if you have that passion and that focus in that moment, I mean, if he has to have that kind of focus in that moment, then shouldn't we too? So the other story, it's another basketball story from LeBron James. He was in the off season and he was like practicing and he was just like, he was really going at it. And I guess another one of his teammates or somebody from another team was walking by and he was like, "Oh, are you practicing for the season coming up?" And he was like, "No, dude." I know LeBron James did not say dude, but he was basically like, "No, dude, I'm practicing for the playoffs." So even though he's in that moment, he's still educating himself. He's still priming himself for the big thing that is in the future, but he's in the moment doing it and focused on the here and now.
Yeah, if you want to be a winner, prepare like a winner,
Yeah.
right? And that's the point of the through line there is that we don't just step up when the time is there.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
And we all feel we're not lucky, but luck comes around when you're prepared for the opportunity, when that is there. So you want to look at what you are doing and are the steps I'm taking. Am I being present in what I'm doing? And I'm fully engaging like a winner would do, because you guys are listening to the show. You're winners, right? You're putting forward the effort to be better in your day. So steps that are so important to this. Let's go over 5 steps. 'Cause I do want to go off topic. So, but on something after this, but 5 steps for you to be present in the moment.
Surround yourself with winners.
Number 1, surround yourself with winners.
Number 1, surround yourself with winners. Surround yourself with other people who are in the moment. Because I know this has happened to you before and maybe you initiated it. Somebody starts talking about the past, whether it was good times or bad times, or somebody starts being anxious about the future and you get pulled in both directions. So surround yourself with people that you know are focused, winners who are focused on the here and now, focused on connecting with you right now, not connecting with the past you, not connecting with the future you, connecting with the you that is now. I just had a conversation with a really good friend of mine, Amanda Abdel Syed, and we just connected on this conversation one-on-one in the now and figured out that we're going to hold each other accountable to have these in the now conversations. So that was number 1, connect with winners who are now.
Number 2 is stop multitasking. And it doesn't have to be throughout your whole day, but set aside a moment that you can commit. Right before this, I set aside 10 minutes. I literally told Alexa, who's going to jump on right now, set an alarm for 10 minutes. And I just committed to writing over those 10 minutes. And that was it. Generally, I actually wrote past that. So I put more time in past that, but I actually took those 10 minutes. And now you can get a lot done in 10 minutes. But when you think you're doing a lot in those 10 minutes, you're doing 10 other things, and it takes you, when you have to course correct off one task to another, 17 minutes to refocus again, you're getting nothing done. Take 10-minute blocks or 20-minute blocks. Generally, going past that becomes unrealistic. Take it and just fully get engaged. And then you can stand up, refresh yourself and move into something else, but commit for 20-minute or 10-minute blocks.
Number 3, you must be mindful. So I know Tony Robbins talks about transformational vocabulary. So transformational vocabulary is basically taking the negative and turning it into positive. So if you're angry, or if something happens that's just like outrageously bad, one of my uncles used to call it wonderful. Something wonderful just happened. And all of a sudden your day is a little bit brighter, even though it might be the worst thing that happened. Just transforming your vocabulary makes it that much more amazing. And you'll still deal with it, but now you're dealing with it with a better mindset. So if you find yourself getting anxious, that means you're looking into the future. So how can you take that anxiousness and bring yourself back into the present. How can you anchor yourself back into the present? Find something that anchors yourself back into the present. If you're finding yourself that you're depressed, that means you're probably looking towards the past. So how can you again bring yourself back into the present? And this is up to you because everyone's different. You have to find that anchor that brings you back. So number 3 is be mindful about it and find that to anchor.
Number 4 would be step outside yourself. And so you don't need drugs or any kind of surreal thing here, but if you were watching you with what you're doing, what would you rate that person? What rating would you give that person? Would you identify that person as doing winning tasks or doing winning objectives right there? Or are you seeing a person that's not being present in the moment? Notify yourself of what you're doing so you can go back within yourself and make those course corrections.
I'm actually going to extend that one. This is an extension of number 4.
Cool. Four, that would be 4A. This would be 4B.
B.
Yeah.
4B
2, 3, 7. Yeah.
So the same thing goes, and this don't think too much on this, but what would your future self tell yourself now? That best self, that future self that's reached those goals. What does that future self tell you in the moment? Does the future self tell you that you need to be paying attention to me? Probably not. Does that future self tell you that, oh, you have to be looking at the past? Probably not. That future self is going to give you actionable steps that are right here and right now. So that is 5. Find those actionable steps.
Is that 4B or is that 5?
No, we just talked 4B. Now I'm talking about 5.
Okay.
5. And we always talk about action, and action is usually everything we talk about. So number 5 is action. Anchor yourself in action. Take the action to get those goals done. Take the action to better yourself. Take the action ... Whatever it is, take it and anchor yourself into it.
And I'll put the 5.5 in there, is that now is the word. So act now. Don't think about acting into the future where tomorrow won't happen. Act now. Don't think about what's happened in the past. Act now. Act now and get yourself used to being present and moving forward.
Be in the moment. Anchor yourself now. And I know you had a departure from this. So what else did you
Well, I was actually talking, now I'm on to a whole other topic. Well, maybe we'll get back to that. I was reading this book on Star Wars, and it was actually, that R2-D2 and C-3PO, their first names was R-Depot and R-Depot, and then which was 3P. So was it no R-Dito and 3PO as spelled out with words, not numbers.
I did not know that.
Just so you're aware. Okay, next one here is that the one theory that's out there a lot happening right now is the greater fool theory, which may be me for trying to say that correctly before. But if anybody is on TikTok and has seen the thing rolling around about Dogecoin, which is basically a almost defunct crypto coin that is at about 0.0002 cents, something of that magnitude. Well, there was a message out there. Hey, there's eight whatever it is billion people on TikTok. Would it, if everyone just goes and buys $10 of TikTok, it will be worth that $10 will become like $25,000, right? And so they could basically you're getting, or it was actually put $25, and if that becomes $1, if Dogecoin rises to $1, then everyone will have $10,000. So what's happening here? Dogecoin's going nuts because everybody's buying, for $10, for $20, for $25, you're getting like 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 shares of Dogecoin. But just the effort, right? The social media effort of people jumping on to Robinhood, getting it, basically buying, there's no commission over there, jumping on and buying this here. Well, now they're actually seeing a run up of Dogecoin. So Dogecoin is basically increased in value 80%.
Wow.
But here's the thing that there's a full circle here, right? There's always got to be a greater fool because at some point, that's going to stop, right? And so people who are potentially putting in a lot of money, and I've seen a couple, there's always going to be a greater fool who's going to buy from you and go forward. But that relates to real estate too, right? Because if you keep buying and you always assume things are going to go up, well, at some point things go down. for a lot of reasons just right now, COVID, right? So if you look at that, there's always got to be a greater fool who's going to buy it for more than you. And that's the theory right there. So you have to look at it. What are the fundamentals? And if you get back to Dogecoin, imagine that Dogecoin got to $1. The market cap on Dogecoin would actually be worth 4 times as much as Uber. So Uber, which is worth a couple billion dollars, Dogecoin would be worth 4 times as much of that if it actually got to $1. So you have to look at the feasibility of this all happening and where this all goes. But the driving, basically the millennial push of something like this, you can see what happens to a lot of things, right? You can push the narrative. You can push the narrative of what's actually happening there by a bunch of people getting excited about something and putting their energy behind it. But that's a lot which is happening all around us. So, and you see that with real estate, the energy goes, and so things go up, right? And then at some point, there's got to be that greater fool, and then there's not, right? And there's only the fools who are left standing, left there at the end. Well, the same thing happens here, in all different formats. You have to look at yourself and say, okay, am I making a choice that's to my base, to my point, or am I taking a risk? And if you want to throw $10 into something and don't worry about it, I mean, so be it, but if it's something that you're going to put a lot of money into it, hoping that there's a greater fool, you want to think about your philosophy. Make sense?
That makes sense. How can you how does that tie in with real estate, or like putting your I guess money into something? And is that a good thing to put your money into, or has the trend passed?
Dogecoin?
Yes.
Well, Dogecoin's a complete. Let social media take up the value of something that has no worth, right? So this happened with Hertz a couple weeks ago. If anybody knows, Hertz has filed for bankruptcy, where Hertz had some of the biggest trading days going forward because people were basically playing the arbitrage that there was going to be a greater fool to get them out. So the stock went to almost nothing, and because it was so cheap, everybody started buying it, selling it, buying and selling, and playing hedges here to make money in the in between, right? It's a worthless stock. The company's within bankruptcy. So at this point, people are buying the stock with the hope that there's a greater fool out there. Is there? Well, that's the same thing you go for real estate. And you have to look at real estate in a lot of ways where do you have another exit strategy? So if you are buying this, just only the best case scenario lets you know that it's going to win. And that, or only the best case scenario is the only option you have to get a win. Well, then you better really think in your point right here, because what's the chance of that best case scenario happening? And that could be, a risk you are willing to take. But generally, you want to say, okay, here's my best case, here's my worst case, here's my base case. There's a percentage that all these can happen right here. What is the base case due to this investment? Does it allow me to sustain? Does it allow me to walk away from it? Does it allow me to make my investors whole? The worst case, right? Can I pay my debt service? Can I get back my investors' capital? What does that do? Okay, cool. The best case could happen too, but the chance of that compared to everything else, and there's a lot of things out of your control, right? Not everybody would think right now maybe they own office space or they own a bunch of restaurant chains that COVID would just take away all their income, right? So that's an unrealistic point. So not many people had put in that they would have zero income. But that's why a lot we've seen the government funding coming down. But again, looking at investments overall, the more exit strategies and the more the ability you have to win, well, of course, is going to be a better chance you're going to win. Right? When you're basically just saying it's all or nothing here, when there's a certain use to that when you're starting a company, right? You have to start it and commit to it, but you also have to know to adapt. Many times people commit to companies, and where they falter and where they fail is they're so stuck in their idea that they miss that they have the right idea but the wrong use, right? They're putting in the need. But the need is maybe either the usage of the product is wrong or the customer base is wrong. And because they're so stubborn and this is the way, that they're shorting what their potential investment could be.
So basically, if you have that all or nothing strategy, like with this Dogecoin, I don't even know how to say it.
It's Dogecoin. It has a long history back to 2003. But the founder of Dogecoin, he had like a Twitter attack where everybody was attacking on Twitter in 2008. He even walked away, so he's not even in this anymore. So it's basically just this like rogue thing that's happening right now.
But if you only have one exit strategy, and whatever you do, then you're going to find yourself in this all or nothing combination. You have to realize that the amazingness might not actually happen. You might actually fall into the nothing category. So having different forms of exits is smart. It's not foolish. Like Jason was saying about being the fool. Don't be the fool.
Well, Warren Buffett has this great saying, I think, about poker, where if you walk into a room and it's a poker game and you don't know who the fool is, well, you're the fool. And it's basically that point is you want to identify what you're doing here and not put yourself at risk. And there is risk, and it can be calculated that you're going to take, right? And there has to be a certain point right there. If the unknown is out there, like if you are at something you're very unhappy with and you're at something that's not fulfilling, and you say, well, I could go out there. I love writing. I know I could be, proficient at this. I know I could sell books and help people speak. Well, you're going to have to take a leap of faith in some way, because you don't have a way to identify what is being earned, because it's not earned yet, but the capital within yourself and the belief within yourself and the work there. So you are the foundation of the investment, right? But if you're hoping that there's going to be a greater fool and the market's going to drive something, you have to think about it. And like, what is it? They're Barstool Sports, the guy, Rob Portnoy, he's because they can't do a lot with what they're doing right now because sports are out. They did have this big point. He started doing day trading, and he's hilarious because at first he said, I tried to think that there was some thought process to real estate investing, but it's just, or not to stock trading, but it's all nonsense. After the first couple of days, he was losing money making investments that he thought made sense. And he's like, there's all nonsense. The stocks just go up. So he just throws money at stuff and stocks just go up. But it's just driving it with his narrative here, where that's what's happening out there. And that's where markets are being influenced, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. In a way that's completely changing the perspective of a lot of things. So don't be the bigger fool is the common part right there. And there's many times when we have to ask dumb questions to get there, mm-hmm. but we want to make sure that the risk isn't associated with that questions. Asking the dumb questions so you can get better at your questioning and better at your answers, right? Yes. So I did a thing on being a great podcast host that, okay, you want to be a great interviewer or a great host, number one thing is you got to listen, right? So the guest coming on is why the show is happening. It's not me getting on to ask a blank screen the question. So I want to listen to what the person is saying so I can be engaged with them and be interested in what they're saying, to ask questions to get the best answers from them.
Oh, we are way past the 15-minute mark.
No, you're just crushing with your workouts today. So this is actually almost at the halfway point for a 45-minute workout if you're into it. And that's what we've been doing here into day two.
Day 2 of 75 Hard.
Phase 3. So lots happening here. I got my cold shower in already.
Good for you. I didn't.
Yeah. Keely, for some reason, tortures herself and gets herself all the way to the end of the night. And then last thing right before bed, she's like, I can take that cold shower still. Just get over with. Get it over with. Cold showers are actually really
invigorating. They
are, right? And I forget how useful they are for my legs with the running, right? I mean, it's like in point. It's a 5-minute cold shower, and I don't care about the cold part. I think coming back from like a fast-paced like bar world that we do, there's not much time. Everything's fast. So I'm like, 5 minutes. What in the God name do you do for 5 minutes in a shower? So I'm like, okay, 3 minutes left. Like kind of game is this? So I think that's the hardest part, is just that point. So I'm like, okay. So I started brushing my teeth in the shower, trying to like put in activities just to get.
He's working out.
Drag this time on. So I know, right? But all right, what else we got?
I think that's it.
We got what we learned this week tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm gonna send Peely on a Dogecoin point. You make your next TikTok off Dogecoin. One of our buddies did. He actually invested like $1,000.
What?
I threw $10 in, and now we're up. But just to show you, we're up 80% on something so. Because I was like, oh, this is too ridiculous not to be involved in. So yes, right there, I am. In all fact, we own investments in Robinhood and Dogecoin. And I think those are the two we covered right there today. So on that point, we are now doing our job to let people know. So we are not pushing investments for anybody. There you go. All right.
This one went all over the place.
Don't worry. I said I had to go places. So, you got me reading Star Wars. I'm focused on this.
I am so
grateful. My mind is clear.
We are grateful that you have.
I probably just confused the hell out of our audience, but our mind is clear. My mind is clear.
I'm just going to giggle.
Good. We will see you tomorrow with Peely in another bright shirt. I will be in my standard gray. See you then. All right, guys. Happy Thursday.
You are awesome. William, you are awesome. I hope you guys understood everything about Dogecoin, because I didn't. Kenny, I used to actually work with Kenny. We worked together at Lucky Strikes. So hi, Kenny. Michael, as always, thank you. Jillian, as always, thank you. I love these guys that come on multiple times. They are so amazing. We are actually still live, by the way.
Hi, I know. Everyone. I'm just taking the point to let it go out slowly.